Confrontation could ruin your relationships, but it doesn't have to. It can actually make them better if you follow this process. When leaders fail to confront their teams, they allow things in their organization and their culture that they don't want. This ends up creating a lack of harmony within the team, which is ironically what the leader who is failing to confront is trying to avoid in the first place. My name is Brandon Allen, and for the past 15 years, I've been helping leaders go beyond their profits, which means we help them make more money while also significantly reducing their stress. Now, before I did the work that I do in transformational leadership coaching, I worked in finance and I was a manager in finance, and I did everything wrong that you can do as a manager early on in my career. Not confronting was one of those things. I really hoped that people would like me, thought I was cool, thought I was super laid back. I really tried hard not to sweat the small stuff. The problem with that was the people who were doing a great job resented the fact that people who needed some accountability weren't getting it. So what I saw as a result of that was lack of great performance all the way around. People really seemed to struggle because of the culture that I was creating. The second part of this is there's only so long you can go without confronting something before you start to blow up. And I'm no different. I would let little things stack up, and then I would flip out about something that was seemingly inconsequential, but because I had ignored 100 things before that, people wondered, like, what is wrong with this guy? Why is he so mad about not ordering something or making a mistake here when, generally speaking, he hardly ever confronts things? The interesting thing about confrontation is that I thought people would like me less if I did it. When I started to learn how to engage and lead better, confrontation was a big part of what I knew was missing in my own leadership game. Ironically, when I started to confront more frequently and do it respectfully, I built stronger bonds with my team, and guess what? My team performed way better as a result of that. So as I take you on this journey for confrontation, the first thing I want to talk to you about is, what is the purpose of confrontation? And the purpose of confrontation is to solve problems and restore relationships. We all work together in work environments. We work with other people. It's important to maintain integrity in those environments. Confrontation allows us to get something back into integrity, or get a relationship back into integrity that was previously out of integrity. Now, this requires that we do a few things to really get this right. And I'm going to go through my 4-step process here in a second. But before we get there, there's 3 things you need to do to really confront well. The first one is to be timely. Be timely with your confrontation. Don't confront someone 2 weeks after something's happened. They probably have forgotten. You should confront the situation as quickly as possible, provided that you're not so angry about it that you're going to say something that you regret. So my advice to you there in being timely is cool off a little bit. The second thing is to be specific. Be very specific. What is the thing that you're trying to confront? What is the real issue here? Don't be nebulous. Don't be overly broad or general about the situation. Be very specific. And the last thing, and this is so important, is to be professional. People get emotional sometimes in confrontation, and they say things they regret. They say something that's overly personal. It's mean. They might use language that they later regret. Whatever you do, be professional, because if you want to restore someone to integrity, if you want to restore a relationship to integrity, if you handle this poorly, you're going to do the opposite of what we're trying to do with great confrontation. So as I go through this 4-step model, this is something that I learned in the corporate world, something that I did a lot of training and development on for myself, and that I've practiced with hundreds of leaders as well as hundreds of employees over the last 25 years. So the first thing that we want to do when we confront is be supportive. That is the number one thing that we need to make sure that we do. So if our intention with confrontation is to restore integrity to a relationship, or to solve a problem, the one thing that I don't want to do here is I don't want to diminish someone and put them down or go really hard at them when I confront. I want to make sure that this person walks away from this conversation feeling like, you know what, I just had a tough conversation with this person, but I feel like I have a place to go, a direction to go with the conversation, and I know what to do next. That's really what I want someone thinking. And so being supportive is reminding someone when you're confronting them that you want them on the team, that you're you're glad they're a part of the team and that you are looking forward to working with them or that you enjoy working with them. Be supportive. Don't be fake. I have people who say this all the time. They're like, well, should I lie? No, don't lie. Find something that you value about the relationship and hold on to that. So I already touched on this earlier, but be specific is the second part of this, and confront one problem. This is not an opportunity when you confront someone to pull out a laundry list of issues and things that people have done that have disappointed you over the years or months or weeks. This is not the time for this. Pick one issue and stay on that issue and be very specific about what it is that you're trying to talk to this person about. If you're a people pleaser, this is especially hard for you because you want to soften the blow. You want to make this feel not so bad, not so direct, and so you have a tendency to skirt around the issue a little bit, and that confuses the other person that's receiving the confrontation because they're not really sure what the problem is or if they're even part of the problem. You definitely don't want someone walking away from that conversation thinking or feeling that. The third area is work together for a solution. This is where leaders get in their own way, where they want to be prescriptive around a situation that's happening. And what I mean by that is they go to a situation, they see a breakdown, and they want to tell someone what to do to solve the problem. There's a few things that's wrong with this. Number one, you're not sure yet what the real issue is. So you're trying to address a problem that you really haven't figured out what is at the root of it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there's no empowerment. There's no ownership by this person in the problem themselves. If I don't help them kind of figure out their own solution to the problem, I'm not giving them ownership to really solve that. And if they don't have ownership, guess what? The ownership is mine. It's not theirs. I want them to walk away from this conversation owning it. And I want to inspire confidence in that person that they can solve their own problems and that they're capable of doing it. So I'm going to create the space that allows that to happen. So when we work together for solutions, it doesn't mean I won't give some suggestions. It doesn't mean that I might not, hey, what about this? Or did you think about this? Or I might challenge something that someone says. But ultimately, I want that person walking away from that conversation feeling like I came up with a solution and I know how to solve it. Now, here's one of the biggest challenges that happens in this particular step. You get an employee you confront, you say, hey, how do you think we need to fix this? What do you think we should do moving forward? And they say the classic words, I don't know. What do you do with that? I know a lot of leaders get tripped up on that, but this is what I say to an employee. There's a couple of things that I say to I don't know. One of them you're going to think is so stupid, but it works. I thought it was stupid too when I first heard it, but it works. The first thing that I say when people say I don't know is I say, pretend you did know. What would you say to that? It sounds ludicrous. I thought there's no way this is going to work, and then I tried it, and ironically, people really do come up with an answer when you ask them, pretend like they know. It kind of gets them into a different headspace where they're able to really kind of take the pressure off of them to have to absolutely know, and gives them the opportunity to guess or maybe make some hypothesis about why something is happening or not happening. The second thing I might get across to someone who says I don't know is, look, you're the one that's in this situation. You're the only one that's empowered enough to fix it. I can't fix your problems for you, neither can anyone else. We can support you, we can guide you in this, but you've got to ultimately figure out the way for yourself. This is so important to really import that on your team, that they're responsible and in charge for what happens next in their work life. This is a far departure, and why this is so difficult is most businesses and most leadership environments do not allow for this. Most leaders are very directive, tell you what to do, fix your problems, get out of my face, I'm done with you, just don't let it happen again, that kind of thing. They're not trying to get to the root of an issue and really work with someone to come to a solution. And this is why if I spend some time really helping them uncover the problem and why it exists, I have a better opportunity of getting to the root cause of that problem versus throwing a Band-Aid on it. And so when I say throw a Band-Aid on it, one of the things that people might say is, well, I'll try harder or I'll do better. These are not acceptable answers to solving a problem that exists in your business. Do not allow your employees to say, I'll just do better, I'll work harder, I'll try harder. I don't know what that means. And here's the thing about it, your team doesn't know what that means either. They're just guessing. They're trying to say something that sounds reasonable, it sounds good, so you'll stop talking to them about this situation because they're uncomfortable with what's happening. So beware of those kinds of brush off type of answers. Really make sure you walk away from this conversation with a clear-cut, tangible solution to how we're going to fix the problem that we're confronting. And the fourth area is so important. This is one that I really sucked at in my own leadership. I had to get better at is follow-up. Follow up with your team after you've had this conversation. If you have a tough conversation with them, check in. Make sure you ask, how are you doing? How how are things going? This is so important so that they know you care and that you can clear any issues that might come up after you have this conversation. The second thing you want to do is notice their performance. Did they get better? Did they improve as a result of the conversation? Compliment them. Did they do the thing that you just confronted them about again? That sometimes happens, right? And I think for leaders, we hope that we just need to confront someone one time and then that problem will go away. You need to accept the fact that they're going to do something maybe multiple times before they really truly correct it. Go back and address the issue again if you notice that it's still a problem. Do not ignore it because you're tired of talking with them about it or you just don't think it's going to go anywhere, it's going to help. That puts you in a place of being out of integrity with your standards and with the things that you want your team to do. You do not want to be in a position of being out of integrity. So if they work for you and they're out of integrity, your job is to restore integrity back to that situation. Do that as quickly as you can. The follow-up piece is so important. If you don't follow up, what you're saying to your team is, this doesn't really matter. It's really not that important. I know I addressed it. We took some time out of our day and talked about it, but in the end, you know what? I can live with whatever results that we're getting there. So there it is. 4 steps to healthy confrontation. Be supportive, be specific, work together for a solution, and last but not least, follow up. So as you're listening to this video, if you feel like, hey, you know, I'm not really happy with where my business is at, maybe it's not growing the way that I would like it to, I'm just not feeling that enthusiastic about it, do me a favor, click the link below. We have a ton of free tools and resources for you to help you in your business. And if you found this video helpful, if you liked what we had to say here, do me a favor, click like, and that way you won't miss the next video we put out.